Hello and welcome. I do hope that you are safe and sound and that you take good care of yourselves and that you stay at home, because in this period it is vital to stay at home. Now, nothing can prevent us from learning English. Moreover, I'd like your motto to be the following: Coronavirus won't stop me from passing my baccalaureate exam successfully. So what we shall keep in mind is, where there's a will, there's always a way. So this is one of the ways to get ready for the baccalaureate exam. In today's video, I'd like to focus on what answer to give and how to write that answer in section 3. Particularly, I'm going to focus on describing a famous person. So, what would be the outline? To get to know two famous personalities from an English-speaking country, get some useful tips concerning what answer to give in section 3 and how to write the answer in section 3. So let's imagine that this is the assignment you've got at your baccalaureate exam. Who is your favorite American personality? What is he, she famous for? Present one argument to support your point of view. So I've decided to pick up two personalities, American personalities. One, you are familiar with this person because this is still a preferred answer a lot of students give. But I've decided to focus on somebody whom you might not know. Why not? We have plenty of time, so let's discover. Okay, what shall we consider? So first of all, what that famous person does. What is that person's role in the field he or she works? And definitely it is important to describe that person. What kind of adjectives would you use to describe that person and to describe the role that person has? Okay, the first thing to do is to research a little bit. So you have access to internet, research some information about Barack Obama in our case, and what can we take from the internet? That he is the 44th president of the United States of America from 2009 to 2017. He has also won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009. He has sought to strengthen democracy and human rights. He has dreamed of a world free of nuclear weapons. And he believes that any conflict can be solved through dialogue and negotiations. I would also advise to look for what this famous person says. For example, I have picked up a passage from his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech. Particularly, he says, we can acknowledge that oppression will always be with us and still strive for justice. We can admit the intractability of deprivation and still strive for dignity. Clear-eyed, we can understand that there will be war and still strive for peace. So why have I picked up this passage? Particularly because it reflects Obama's personality, that he is a very sensible man, he is pragmatic, he does understand that there are wars, there are conflicts, but still we shall work hard to solve them, to strive, as he says, for peace. Okay, now these are just ideas that we've got. It's high time to organize them and make a coherent text. But before doing that, let us see what kind of adjectives would you use to describe that famous person. Um, a very popular adjective is important. There is nothing wrong with this adjective, but there are others such as remarkable, encouraging, inspiring, powerful, distinguished, significant, renowned, well-known, extraordinary, prominent, influential, outstanding. Similarly, there are adjectives which we can use while describing the contribution of that person. Again, an extremely popular adjective is important. Why not work with synonyms and see what other adjectives are there? And, for example, we can use leading, crucial, central, defining, vital, significant, determining, key, decisive, extraordinary, essential, major, pivotal, outstanding. Now, I'd like to show an example of an answer for this task. However, what I'd like you to do is to stop the video, to write your own answer, taking into consideration the information I've selected for you, and afterwards to turn on the video again and to compare. Let's do it, shall we? Okay, now let's compare. So this is the example I've got. Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States, is my favorite personality. He is well known for his significant contribution in promoting the international spread of democracy and human rights. I particularly like his sensible approach to conflict resolution. He strongly believes that a conflict can be solved through dialogue and negotiations. Similarly, he supports the reduction of nuclear weapons. That is why he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009. So, what can we notice? That the answer is very focused and to the point. As we have to formulate our answer within 70, 80 words, we have to be very, very focused. And we begin with the person we want to describe. So Barack Obama. Then immediately we mention what he's famous for, right? He is the 44th President of the United States of America. And immediately after, in the next sentence, we give the argument, which is developed throughout the paragraph. And also, I'd like to draw your attention to the connectors we used throughout the paragraph. To the adverbs also used there. For example, I particularly like his sensible approach to conflict resolution. He strongly believes. And the connector similarly, adding information. And the concluding in the last sentence, that is why. Okay, now let's get to the next example. And I wonder, do you know who this person is? What if I tell you that she is known as RBG? So this is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, another prominent American. So I'd like you to listen to a short video where she basically explains what she has done all her life.
It was beyond my wildest imagination that I would one day become the notorious RBG. I am now 86 years old, yet people of all ages want to take their picture with me. Amazing. If I am notorious, it is because I had the good fortune to be alive and a lawyer in the late 1960s, then and continuing through the 1970s. For the first time in history, it became possible to urge before courts successfully that equal justice under law requires all arms of government to regard women as persons equal in stature to men.
Okay, so we can understand that she's a famous lawyer and that she has always fought for gender equality. Now, what shall we do? Research. And we can find the following information, that RBG is an associate justice of the US Supreme Court. She has fought against gender discrimination. She has persisted against all wards. Indeed, at the beginning of her career, it was very difficult to be acknowledged as a lawyer, simply being for the fact of being a woman. She is the second woman ever nominated to the US Supreme Court, and she has always advocated for justice. Now, what kind of, let's say, quote can we find on the internet attributed to RBG? For example, she can teach us 3 important lessons about ambition. Particularly, she urges us to know our value and purpose, accept no excuses, and own our own ambition. So what exactly does it mean? She tells us to ask ourselves the following questions when it comes to know your value and purpose. How do I add value to my organization and society? Do I have a purpose that motivates to be my best self? So let's think about ourselves. Do we have that purpose? Yes, we do. To pass our baccalaureate exam successfully is one of them. Now, accept no excuses. Ask yourselves, what obstacles do you currently face? Do you let these obstacles become barriers to your success, or do you look for avenue to overcome them? So, what is the barrier? Coronavirus outbreak. But will we let coronavirus become prevent us, let's say, from achieving our goals? I don't think so. Okay, and finally, own your ambition. She urges us to ask ourselves, does your mindset about ambition hold you back? So very often an ambitious person is regarded as a bad person, which is wrong. Now, again, like in the previous example, I'd like you to stop the video right now and come back after you have written your own answer. Let's do it. Okay. Now let's compare. So this is the example I've got. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, also known as RBG, is the person I admire most. She is the second woman who was nominated to the US Supreme Court. She played an essential role in the support of gender equality. All her life, she has fought for justice for all, and she is determined to continue her work. She remains an influential figure in the American society, inspiring many young people to work hard to realize their dreams. Again, we can notice that the answer is focused, that we begin by mentioning who the person is, then we say what the person does, her role and contribution, in our case, in the support of gender equality, and we have a concluding sentence at the end. Okay, so let us sum up. In today's video, we've got acquainted with 2 famous people. from an English-speaking country, according to our assignment from America, the United States of America. We've learned what answer to give in section 3 and how to formulate that answer. The answer should be focused and to the point. It should include what that person does and what that person's contribution is. We shall keep in mind that where there is a will, there is always a way, and that practice makes perfect. So practice to make it perfect, and we are going to rock, and we'll make it through.